Welcome to the lecture series in computer science. We are seeing a series of lectures in the subject Agile Methodologies. We will be seeing a topic on Scrum framework. Scrum was a framework. It is one of the Agile software development life cycles framework. It is the one and only framework. All other things are called as methodologies. Whereas we would have seen a topic on extreme programming, Crystal, adaptive software development. Those things are said to be methodologies, whereas this Scrum is a framework. Framework is tailor-made, customizable. So in today's session we will be seeing about Scrum, and the contents of the session are, we will see about the idea behind Scrum, Scrum framework, Scrum practices, Scrum board, Scrum roles, Scrum terminologies, and the activities that are used in Scrum, and how do you do estimation with respect to a Scrum framework. Now let us see the idea behind Scrum. Scrum, it was developed by Jeff Sutherland and was formalized by Ken Schwaber. The Scrum has its root from Takeuchi Naneka paper formulated in 1986 titled The New Product Development Game in the Harvard Business Review. Scrum is a process framework that has been used to manage complex product development since the early 1990s. Scrum is not a process or a technique for building products. Rather, it is a framework within which processes and techniques are employed. Scrum is based on the empirical model used to control complex and unpredictable systems. The fundamental notion of Scrum is that the set of variables that constitute software development, such as people, requirements, resources, and technology, are not predictable. Scrum focuses on the project management approach. So this is the idea behind Scrum, in which Scrum is a people oriented approach rather than a process oriented approach. It depends on people, it is a people oriented approach. Now let us see how the Scrum works and what are the techniques that have been used in the Scrum framework. In Scrum you have a game called as planning game. It has a set of prioritized requirements called a backlog list, and then you have a term called sprint, where the prioritized list of requirements are developed into an executable product without allowing further changes to requirements within the iterations ranging from 15 to 30 days. So my dear students, you might be knowing what a sprint is. You would have seen some athletic games, running race games. You would have seen a sprint match. What do they do in a sprint match? If it is a 4 into 400 meters sprint, what do they do? Or 4 into 100 meter sprint, what do they do? Each and every 100 meter they will be passing the stick from one runner to the other runner, and then that runner will be taking the stick and he will be running. Similarly over here, sprint is of 15 to 30 day duration. It will be either 15 days or it will be either 30 days. At the end of 15 days, the development team, they will be releasing an MMF. What is MMF? MMF denotes minimum marketable feature. So they will be releasing at the end of every 15 days to the client, and the client, after this approval, they will be working out with the next sprint. So that is called as a sprint. So it has a name, that sprint name has been derived from the athletics. As well, the name Scrum, it is derived from the game called rugby. Even in rugby, it acts as a project management approach, wherein everyone will fight for a single ball. Over here, everyone to achieve success for a single goal. So here also this Scrum has been taken from the name rugby game. Then we have one other terminology called daily Scrum. A daily Scrum, it is a project monitoring technique done on a daily basis. Then we have product backlog and sprint backlogs that are used for analysis, design, testing and closure of the releases. A product backlog is one. Backlog by name, what can you infer? Backlog is one wherein if you are not able to complete it within this particular sprint, it will be kept on a backlog, it will be kept on a lot called as parking lot. So in that lot the features will be parked and it will be decided upon the meeting whether to take up in the next sprint or whether to postpone that particular feature. That is called as product backlog and sprint backlog. Then next is about the Scrum practices. You have one of the practice called as task board, sprint planning, daily Scrum meeting, sprint duration. I said the duration will be of either of 15 days or of 30-day duration. Sprint review, you have a sprint review meeting. At the end of each and every sprint you have sprint review meeting. Sprint retrospectives. What do you mean by retrospective, my dear students? Retrospective means learning from experience. Introspect means learning from your own self, from the mistakes that you have committed. Retrospectors, if others have committed a mistake in your project, you need to be doubly cautious so that you are not committing the same old mistake that you or your team members has committed at the earlier stage. So that is called as sprint retrospective. Then product backlog, sprint backlog, sprint burn down chart, product owner, scrum master, dynamic egoless team. What does it mean? What is a dynamic egoless team? It means all sprints, it's all fast paced. Everywhere, for every 15 days or 30 days you are supposed to release the minimum marketable feature and you are supposed to get the approval from the client. If you are supposed to release the minimum marketable feature every 15 days once, then the team, whatever team you have, it should be collaborative, they should interact, they should be sturdy, they should be at a fast paced, they should be committed, they should not have any sort of ego among themselves. So such a team you call it as egoless team, and since they are committed, since they are fast paced, they should be adaptable to changes, to change in requirements, to any type of changes. So such a team which is adaptable to changes, you call it as dynamic egoless team. Then let us see, you have a board, a task board. Whenever you go to a company, whenever you see a company, whenever you visit a company works with the Agile software development exclusively with the Scrum framework, there you could find a big white board. In that white board you can find many sticky notes being placed. So here this sticky note, you have many different sticky notes in which you have planned and in progress and done. So what happens is that it is a real time company which uses this board. So it is the sprint number 42. So they are going to show the 42nd feature to the client, wherein you have many different sticky notes. These are all called as sticky notes. In these sticky notes, this has been planned, that is exploratory testing of finance mod, interview, external users. So these are all, it has been written by a person called Scrum Master. My dear students, in your traditional methodology, traditional life cycle model, wherein you would have studied your traditional life cycle model in a subject called software engineering, wherein you have traditional life cycle models such as waterfall model, iterative model, prototyping model, incremental model, so on and so forth. There you have an exclusive designation called as project manager. Similarly, here people, when in Agile software development, when they are going to work with this Agile, when they are going to work with this Scrum framework, you have a coach, you have an Agile coach. The Agile coach in Scrum framework, he is called as Scrum Master. He is an Agile coach. You would have studied a similar kind of Agile coach when you studied extreme programming methodology. In extreme programming, the Agile coach is called as an XP coach, extreme programming coach, whereas the same Agile coach In Scrum framework, he is called as Scrum Master. Both extreme programming and Scrum framework are part of Agile software development. So, here in the Scrum board divided into 3 different columns. The first column is what is planned, what is to be done, in progress, what is the work that is completed. So, these are the 3 columns wherein the board will be, and people will be placing all their sticky notes, and Scrum Master will be writing all the stickies and he will be placing. So, it is the development team member who has to go early in the morning. He has the liberty to pick anything, any notes, and he can start his developing. So, what does it mean? The commitment starts right away here. If you want to pick an easier story card and each and every sticky note, you call it as user stories. He would have got the user stories would have been written by the customer, that is the customer used to say and this master used to write, and it will get placed. So, if you want an easier story, or if you want to check, if you want to work easily without any sort of tension or anything of that sort, then you need to go early in the morning, pick your own story. So, the commitment starts over here. As I said, if you want to be in the Scrum team, you should be a dynamic egoless team. So, you need to go early in the morning, do your task, and you need to see to that you are completing your task. So, if you want to pick up, you are going to do like this. So, this is a Scrum board, a real time Scrum board. Then we have some of the Scrum roles. Let us see what is a Scrum role. What are the Scrum roles? You have, as I said, you have a Scrum Master, you have the team members, development team members, you have product owner. Unlike your traditional life cycle model, in your traditional life cycle model, you have a business analyst, you have a designer, you have the role of a coder, you have the role of a tester, you have a role of a support engineer. But here, these are the 3 main roles. One is team member, other one is Scrum Master, other one is product owner. And here in Scrum framework, no hierarchy is followed. My dear students, keep in mind, in Scrum framework, hierarchy is not followed, whereas in traditional life cycle models, hierarchy is followed. Project manager, project leader, team leader, developer, tester. So, you have various hierarchies in traditional life cycle model, whereas here in Scrum framework, no hierarchy is followed. So, if there are only 3 roles, then where does the tester will fit in? Tester will fit in, he will be among the team members. At one particular sprint, the development team, the person who is a programmer, he will do testing. In the second sprint, a person who did testing at the first sprint will carry out programming. In the third sprint, the person who did testing will carry out the quality assurance. So, a person, a team member should be multifaceted. Multifaceted in the sense he should do many different roles when he is in a sprint. Let us see the description of a team member. It is a cross-functional team typically of 7 plus or minus 2 members. That is, the team size will be either 5, the entire team size will be only 5, or the maximum of 9 members in a team, responsible for selecting the sprint goal and organizing themselves to achieve them. Then the other role is Scrum Master. He is a facilitator responsible for ensuring whether the team is fully functional and productive. He has every right to remove the impediments. He should protect the team from external interferences and ensure that the process is followed. So, supposing if there is some issue with the top management or with the customer end, the Scrum Master should be a protector. He should be stern in protecting his own team members. Similarly, if in a team, if the members are incorrigible, if they are not performing well, the Scrum Master should be strict enough to remove that particular team member from the team. So that is a Scrum Master. Then Product Owner. Who is a Product Owner? It is a new concept, new role that has been defined over here. A customer representative responsible for defining and prioritizing the product features and providing feedback to the team. My dear students, kindly see here, it is called as customer representative. I have not stated it as customer. Why have I not stated it as customer? A customer, he may be only one person. He cannot be all along to be part of the team, but he will be in a position to employ few more people who he call them as customer representative, and those customer representative will be part of the Scrum framework. What is the advantage of having customer representative over here? When a feature has been developed, it will be showcased to the customer representative, wherein the corrections will be instantly, immediately, it will be then and there, it will be informed by the customer representative, and after those corrections are made, after the features have been seen, he will inform it to the original customer. So that is the reason, in order to be part of the entire working lifestyle of the Scrum framework, a customer employs a customer representative, and such customer representative will become this product owner. So these roles are highly important. So when you have been questioned, you will be asked to list the roles. It is team member, Scrum Master and product owner. Then next is about the terminologies that have been used in this Scrum framework. Product backlog. Product backlog, it is a list of features prioritized by business value provided by the customer. Then you have sprint backlog, a subset of the product backlog and contains the prioritized features to be developed in a given sprint. You have storyboards. Storyboards are also called as Scrum boards. The Scrum board picture only you saw in the previous slide. So Scrum board is also called as storyboard. Storyboard act as an information radiator. What do you mean by information radiator? It is the board that is going to say you whether a particular user story has been completed, or whether it has been planned, or whether it has been progress. It is in progress. So if you have completed the user story, it is called as done. You have few companies, they will be splitting it into three types like this. One is to do, doing, done. As in the Scrum board picture, what we saw is planned, in progress, done. Similarly, few companies have a use similar kind of wordings as to do, doing and done. If a story is been completed, you call it as done. Initially, when the Scrum Master is going to discuss with the client, with the customer, he will be getting a bigger story, a very big story. Such a story is called as epic. My dear students, kindly make a note of it. A bigger story is called as epic. You might be knowing the epics as Ramayana, Mahabharata or certain epics. So those story, those epic, if it has been splitted and if it has been showcased as a serial, then each and every serial you call it as user story. In today's episode, this is what is happening. In tomorrow's episode, this is what will happen. In yesterday's episode, this is what was happened. So an epic which is being split into smaller things is called as stories, and you call it as user story. So that has been placed in a sticky note in a Scrum board or storyboard. You will not be writing full-fledged details in the user story. It will be only bulleted points, to the point. It will be only crisp and precise. Then here the big user story are called as epic. They are placed onto the white plain boards called the Scrum board. Team members are allowed to pick the user story as per their wish, and the priority is assigned on the stories. Priority in the sense, what are the features that has to be performed in this particular sprint. So priority has more weightage. So based on the priority, the team members will be picking the user story from the Scrum board or the storyboard. Then the other terminology is burn down chart. What is a burn down chart? A graph that displays the cumulative work remaining on a daily basis. As I said, what is the work that you have performed, what is the work that is still remaining. It designed to guide the development team towards an on-time and successful sprint. Burn down chart act as an information radiator. Only this burn down chart will let you know whether you have completed a particular set of feature and what is it still remaining. So it is being explained in the burn down chart. So these three things are terminologies. My dear students, roles are important, terminologies are important. That is the reason I have given it in separate slides. Then next is Scrum activities, which is one other important point. You have a daily Scrum. Daily Scrum is a type of meeting. It is a 15-minute meeting designed to allow team members to report the status. We will see in detail what we are going to have in a daily Scrum, what are the questions that are to be asked in a daily Scrum shortly. So then the other activity is sprint planning meeting, a meeting where the team and their customer representative discuss the product backlog and develop a detailed plan for the next sprint. Only in the sprint planning meeting they will be deciding whether to take this backlog into the next sprint or to postpone it or to keep it in the parking lot itself. Then next activity is demo, a demonstration of the working software developed by a team in a sprint showed to the product owner. Product owner is a customer representative. A working software product, only I said it as minimum marketable feature, MMF. Then next is retrospective, a meeting where the team member collaboratively discuss their performance in their previous sprint and identify strategies for improvement. Retrospective is attained based on previous experiences. So these are some of the activities that are to be carried out for a Scrum framework. It is highly important: daily Scrum, sprint planning meeting, demo and retrospective. These are the 4 activities that are to be carried out. Then let us see the important terminologies that are used in Scrum. There are 3 highly important terminologies used in Scrum. One is called as velocity, second one is the burn down chart, third one is the cycle time. And all these 3 terminologies are used by the team members. The team member, he may be, as I said, he may be a developer, he may be a tester, he may be a quality analyst, but whomsoever it may be, all 3 are said to be called as team member. So let us see about the velocity. Velocity is a measure of how much of user story points gets completed in a given amount of time. Only the completed user story points count towards velocity. Then about the burn down chart. A burn down chart is a graph that traces the number of complexity points remaining versus the number of iterations. It indicates the burn down rate. Usually the burn down chart will feature the ideal burn down rate needed to achieve the iteration goal. Whatever you have completed, that will be listed. Then is the cycle time. A cycle time is the number of days or the iterations taken to complete a story. It is also called as the average time taken between the deliveries of the completed work items. So these are some of the terminologies that are used in Scrum framework. Then let us see how a Scrum was estimated. Have you heard of a game called planning poker? Because Scrum is a project management approach. As I said, it is a people oriented approach wherein anyone and everyone will be free and they will work in a collaborative way. And even for estimation, doing estimation, they do estimation using games. Such a game, you call it as planning poker game. I suppose you people would have played the game of cards, card game, 52 cards, and you would have played the card game. Similarly, this planning poker game is also a card game, but therein you will be having certain numbers. Those numbers will be in the form of Fibonacci series. So let us see how this game has been played and how they do the estimation. We should not say how this game has been played. After playing the game, they estimate and they give the estimation to the client and to the customer. A customer is a most superior part of an organizational unit, because a customer is a person who is going to pay for the project. So let us see how game has been played. In a planning poker estimation technique, estimates for the user stories are derived by playing planning poker. The entire Scrum team is involved and it results in quick and reliable estimates. Planning poker is estimated or is played with a deck of cards. As Fibonacci sequence is used, the cards will have numbers such as, I suppose you might be knowing the Fibonacci numbers, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21 and so on. So 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 5, 3 plus 5 8, 5 plus 8 is 13, 8 plus 13 is 21. This is for people who do not know what Fibonacci series is. So these numbers represent the story points. It gives the weightage, priority. So that is called as story points. Each estimator has a deck of cards. The numbers on the cards should be large enough to be visible to all the team members. When one of the team member holds up a card, one of the team member is selected as a moderator. A moderator reads the description of the user story for which estimation is being made. Then if the estimate have any questions, the product owner, who is said to be a customer representative, answers them. Each estimator privately selects a card representing his or her estimate. Cards are not shown until all the estimators have made a selection. At that time, all cards are simultaneously turned over and held up so that all the team members can see their estimates, their estimate as well their friends, their colleagues' estimates. In the first round, it is very likely that the estimates may vary, because if they do not have an experience, it may definitely vary. If they have an experience in working with Scrum framework, estimates will become common. The high and low estimators should explain the reason for their estimates. Care should be taken that all the discussions are meant for understanding only and nothing is to be taken personally. The moderator has to ensure that the estimates are becoming common. Now, these are some of the benefits of planning poker. One is expert opinion, other one is analogy, third one is disaggregation. Based on experience, you can estimate well and you get a better estimates. So let us summarize this session of whatever we have seen so far. We saw about the idea behind Scrum, we saw what Scrum framework is, we saw some of the Scrum practices, we saw what a Scrum board or a storyboard is. We classified into three types: to do, doing, done, or planned, in progress, done. Then we saw some of the Scrum roles, Scrum terminologies, activities in a Scrum, and we saw about how to estimate, do the estimation by playing the planning poker game. Thank you.